Welcome to Esoteric Beat, Episode 3. I'm experimenting with a shorter format here, so I'm going to keep it to 5 minutes. Now, many people ask me, what's the secret? And I'm happy to tell them. Beats me! So, today we are looking at teaching arrows. Can you read that? It's a paper on the Hypnerotomachia Polyphili. And this is part of my research. In general, I'm working on play and learning, the role of play and learning. I'd like to do a master's in education working on that topic, building on my work as a public school teacher. And I'm interested in play in these 17th century, 16th century esoteric alchemical texts. The Hypnerotomachia Polyphili is a very weird novel that is also sort of the first work of architectural theory. And I'm writing about it in a couple different places. So here's the title. Teaching Eros, the Rhetoric of Love in the Tale of Levi-Strauss and Rhodamne, the Roman de la Rose, and the Hypnerotomachia Polyphili. This is by Euphemia Priki. The paper brings together three rather unlikely texts. I'm reading the abstract now. The 13th century Byzantine romance, The Tale of Levi-Strauss and Rhodamne, the 13th century Old French Roman de la Rose, and the 15th century Italian prose romance Hypnerotomachia Polyphili, which are characterized by their lengthy dream narratives in which a first-person narrator is initiated in the art and mysteries of love. Focusing on a group of instructive speeches contained within or indirectly connected with these dream narratives, this paper examines instruction as an integral component of the initiation process and as a powerful rhetorical tool moving the narrative and a love story of the protagonist couple forward. In doing so, the paper also highlights the ideas about love expressed in each of the three romances, the ways that they interconnect, and the ways that they differ. So why am I interested in this paper? I'm working on, I believe I just told you, play and learning. And so this gives me an opportunity to think about learning in the Hypnerotomachia. So one of the things that really interests me about this text is that our narrator, I'm sorry, not our narrator, our protagonist, Polyphili, is instructed by these nymphs, and the nymphs have kind of allegorical code names that represent the parts of the mind or the parts of the soul. And there's all this stuff going on with the Dominican art of memory, which in addition to being about visualizing an interior palace, which I hope you can see the connection with in Hypnerotomachia, the dream architecture, visualizing an interior palace to help memorize a speech or whatever. Was being applied by the Dominicans to sort of do more spiritual tasks with this art and sort of as an aid to prayer and stuff. So it's really interesting to see if you're trying to understand the esoteric content of this text, what's going on with altered states of consciousness, what's going on with using this book to put yourself through some kind of initiation. So looking at instruction as an integral component of the initiation process, that's the part that I underlined, and it's great, for my purposes, as I'm missing out on my education in 15th century romances, to hear about these other texts that are good context for looking, doing a kind of intertextual approach to the HP, where we're looking at the tale of Levi-Strauss and Rhodamne, story of love with four-encased dream narratives. There's some cool theory stuff. Liminality for Turner is an interstructural situation, a medium between states. And then later, love or rather erotic desire is intrinsically liminal. So, stuff about, how education, we're trying to get people through this zone of proximal development, through this emergent state of growth, right? So I love kind of putting together education theory and initiation theory, showing how these esoteric systems, one of my big goals is sort of showing how these esoteric systems had a kind of, learning component, a heuristic component, or however you want to put that. So we're getting to the end. That's 5 minutes of a preview of an article I've barely begun to write. Be curious, my friends. And thanks.